Good. Oh, afternoon. Well, I'll put the PC on then. I'll be joining you. That'll be 11 o'clock then. Uh, hello, everybody. I hope all is well. We've gone from no power to power. Grey hours on TV. I hope you're doing well. I will switch the PC on and then I will switch this off and join the others. What a week! Um, what a week for things on an international scale, I suppose. That I think are going to have a huge impact on the drone industry. I think the EU. Everyone's talking now about increasing defence budgets and things like that. So suddenly our world is going to be, and I suppose one way of demonstrating that is that I've had all sorts of people from more military-based publications and weird manufacturing things that would like to be associated with the military, getting in touch with me and talking to me in the last couple of days, actually, not in the last week, but literally in the last 2 days.
Right.
So the landscape is changing quick.
I
I don't,
see ramp ups coming now, and it'll be, if they're going to invest in more tech, I can see drones being right up there, a number of things that they could invest in, for MOD that's fairly cheap actually for the reward they get. It is kind of interesting. I mean, because everything seems to be quadcopter based for the most part, but there is a lot of fixed wing stuff that you don't hear about as well. There is a lot, it's always the FPV quad that seems to get the attention, but actually there is a lot more going out there than you actually realise, and it's longer range stuff and slightly bigger stuff at times than the FPV quad that's actually being put to use.
Yeah. Right. Okay. This is the bit I get wrong every time. Stand by, dear viewer. I will say you two just chat away and I'll try and join you from the other thing. Good luck, everybody. Here we go.
Good luck.
Right. If we go and hide, right? Mark,
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm not bad, Stephen. How are you?
I'm doing fine. So
what's new with Flyby, guys?
Oh, so much is busy doing deals. Coming into springtime, it's when everyone wants to fly. Everyone wants us to do stuff. So yeah, I spend all my days in meetings rather than flying. Oh,
he's back. What happened? How did that happen?
Not one but two. One of the very rare times I managed not to cut the whole thing off when I did that sort of thing. And the man below Stephen there, I don't think he's going to be making many more appearances on this. He's annoyed so many people recently. I don't think he's long for us, really. I don't know what you can talk about, Ian, but you've had a big week. I know that for sure. But let's go back round to what's happening. And I suppose from our world, in fact, I should get a picture of Scan Eagle up. Have we seen that Boeing? I want to have a bit of a thought piece about this rather than just reacting to it. But have we seen that Boeing is selling off Scan Eagle or wants to sell it, which is quite a thing. Let's get that. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about. This platform here, it's been around forever. Great platform. Perhaps getting a bit long in the tooth, perhaps a little bit difficult to operate in the modern world of VTOLs and that sort of thing, but quite a thing that Boeing wants to sell it. I don't know if it...
I'm quite surprised that they want to sell it because it's probably the only aircraft they have that hasn't crashed.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, and I think it's going to be quite a hard thing to sell from the fact that there's many other platforms that can match its performance now for much less money. Of course, when this came in, it was 2006, I think. These things started flying, and then they were new, novel, and amazing. But look, you can see just these two pictures actually sum it up quite nicely. You need something to chuck it, and then where's the catcher? No, I thought the catcher was there, but there's the chucker behind him. And I don't, if people don't know it, when it comes back, that's the. No, it comes to a wire. It gets captured by a wire.
Yeah. You see, I don't get why you. The question it becomes, right, is if it costs that much to produce, I should think nowadays it's a lot cheaper. You could probably make it a lot cheaper than you could back from 2006. But yeah, like you say, there's other airframes that can do the job. I mean, and you could probably get a better landing and launch system together as well. That's a hell of a launcher.
It is. Let me share this. So this is their attempt to VTOL it, and that, if you look very closely, can you see some orange in the center there? That'll be a cube. That'll be a cube, and that'll be it running Arducopter.
And those beams. So if you look at the framework itself. So you see, it's like it's an aluminium dash metal there. That frame that is from Vulcan UAV, who used to be in the UK. That is that framework.
Yeah, exactly. So when they did this and said, "Oh no, look at our modern innovations," and everyone was very quickly able to go, "No, actually, that's that. This is the other bit. That's that." But that was their sort of speaking to doing that. Let's share this tab instead and watch it go. But there's a lot of stuff. So there is the launch on the left, and there's the recovery on the right, which is a wire. Yes. And that's why it's got the little hooks on the side of the wings. It just snags the wire. There it is. There's a wire behind him. And see those little hooks there?
What I like is they've still got a prop that I like. They need to protect the prop. The prop, I could go and buy that from my local model shop. It's not.
Where's the starter? He's pushed the starter on there. Oh no, he hasn't. I'm right. There's a cage while he's starting it.
Just go back to the starter.
You can buy those as well. We all know those, don't we? We all know those.
I think you can buy those in B&Q.
Well, you buy them in model shops, because if we're starting model planes, it's just a 12-volt starter. Put it on, pull, turn over the engine. That's all that was.
But to be fair, it's worked.
It's wrong. Yeah.
Oh, and look at that! You can see it's an Afghan, but the T-con balloon in the background.
I was just going to ask: is that a balloon?
Yeah, it was. That was the radar. How far does this? It's flying around. Here it comes.
No, I don't want that. It's too complicated.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? That's where a big modern VTOL is going to beat that all day long, isn't it? And that's the problem it faces.
I mean, there's no way I'm going to get a Sora for that. There's no way.
It was made for Sandy Wars, isn't it? But I don't know how Boeing's going to manage to sell that now.
Because I don't. Facebook Marketplace.
Put an advert on LinkedIn. And someone will suck up go.
Oh, God, don't give me ideas. That'll give me ideas. That really will. Right, let me just sign out of here before I show this one. There's just one other story. No.
I just don't. Like you say, I don't see how they would sell that and make. Well, they won't make any money on it. But it's not worth anything because it's overcomplicated to a degree.
Yeah.
The only thing that would be good with that airframe now, and this sounds terrible, is it's a one-way mission thing.
Oh yeah,
Other
definitely.
than that, right now, I see no use for it because it's
There's
overcomplicated on the landing.
There's probably more, but there's probably more efficient ones out there that are doing the one-way mission ones.
Yeah. Well, it's an old design. It's a great design. It's a great aircraft. It definitely has its place in the history of the whole thing of the industry. It definitely has its place, but it's time to move on. I mean, there was an American university, Alaska Fairbanks. They had the biggest fleet of them for a while because they were looking at the wildlife. They were in no way doing oil exploration above the Arctic Circle with them. That wouldn't have happened. That could not have happened. They were looking at the wildlife with them. Bloody hell. They denied that for years. And this bloke, this has happened, I think, since last time. But this bloke, he fought the law and the law won, or, well, not the law won, but Nordic Unmanned previous players bought the bits of the companies. They still have that patent. But I think I'm right in saying it only runs to something like 2027 or something like that anyway. It hasn't got long to run. But that's a pattern on the coaxial, which would have affected. That's the reason I thought about it. I saw the coaxial motors on that last thing. So that would have affected that. But well done, Philip, for trying. It was a good try. He was going to buy it and open source it, but it didn't happen. But there we are. But for those of you who don't know, there is a pattern on the coaxial multi-rotors.
And that is prop here, prop here. So 2 motors, and that is X8 configuration to those that need to understand it.
Or a Y6. Y6. Yeah. Any. It's the use of the coaxial prop. It doesn't matter if you've got just 2, if you've got 2,000. It's not the X8, just the 8. It's any use of the coaxial prop.
Which is crazy because you'd have thought that had been around before any patent would come along.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I can't see how it can be enforced, that kind of thing. But what do I know?
I'm searching for the actual thing. Yeah, but again, it's just my as ever. I don't understand the world. I really don't understand the world. I don't understand people, how they can get away. And I use a historic X8 when I did this. But granted in 20, so it's bought from Air Robot. So it was granted in 2011. Let's see if we can look at it there. But yeah, I seem when I wrote this, I seem to have found a few examples of previous use. Here it is, right here.
Wow.
In German, for those of you that can read German and quickly. But there it is. A picture.
I can't do that.
There we are. Oh, look, that is a very it's a Y6 in that image. Yeah. But yeah. Who would have thought it, eh? So that'll go away soon anyway. That'll go away. Right. Right, that's all I have. Any more? Oh, Bruce is not feeling very well. Get well soon, Bruce. I hope you get well soon. His Parkinson's kept him awake last night, so that's why he's not with us now. So just be careful out there, Uncle Bruce. Ian, fancy telling us anything?
I'm just trying to remember what's gone on this week because
Can you tell us anything? Can you, or are you nod twice or blink 3 times for?
Hold up today's newspaper. Yes. Yeah, you've had some interesting words with people quite high up that have basically said to you, "No, we're not going to tell you." I think that's a good summary, isn't it?
Well, we've had one which I can let me point this in because we can share this because this goes back to what we discussed on the show a few weeks ago. So I'll just put this in private chat and you can do the share.
Yeah.
So a few weeks ago, delving round the Freedom of Information request, I'd found something that I'd heard rumours of before, so I thought it was pretty sound, but I'd never really seen it in a request, but there's basically a number of what are essentially, you could call it flagging freedom of information, you could call it blacklists. I think all of those would be fair to call it, but there's ways that your freedom of informations can be considered controversial and flagged to the Cabinet Office, which can be for a round robin request, which is where you're trying to get information from numerous authorities about the same subject. So, because really, the freedom of information is supposed to be applicant and motive blind, so they're not supposed to be interested in what you're asking about or who you are. And so this really is a bit of this whole thing's really a bit naughty. And I think really I think the view of the ICO with this is they're kind of a bit of allowed to do it, but it's not supposed to be volume and over abused. And I think there's supposed to be some transparency about this afterwards, which obviously concern me if there is supposed to, because we're not getting any here at the minute. But if you ask, as I say, a number of authorities, if they consider it's a national security matter, I'm not sure what the third one is, but basically it's the clearinghouse, which is basically the Cabinet Office looking at it. There's the NSLG, which is national security, and round robin, where it's the number of authorities asked at once. So I just said innocently, did any of the Gatwick freedom of information within the last 3 years happen to appear on any of these lists to be looked at by the Cabinet Office? And the Cabinet Office have then said, we're not sure we can reply to this yet. We're considering applying an exemption of neither confirm nor deny, and we're considering the public interest test. To which I did a lengthy reply back of why there's a few concerns.
Just a bit of a reply here. Yeah.
And I was helped by a certain person that was on the show last week with this particular one. Although prior to this, actually, I had to do one to the DFT, and I can't remember how long it might have even been 2 hours. It was another long one. So I had these 2 to 5 back on the same evening, and basically I did this whole thing here, which was essentially saying, it's a bit odd already to be putting the full 20 days on it. If you need a little bit more time, it's always funny how it's always rounded up to this full 20 days or whatever, when really, if you're making a decision like this, why is it a concern to be? Because all I'm asking for is, which of these freedom of informations, if any, has been flagged, and why and this suggests they're a little bit worried about it. Now, why should you be worried about it? If everything's above board and it was always a drone and nothing else, then why all this? And there did be a polite F off reply today that basically said, how dare you, we will not discuss our thoughts. They're even saying, we're not even sure we're going to apply the exemption at this stage. I was like, well, then I don't even know how we're going through all this. There's some tomfoolery going on, so we'll have to see where that ends up. But I'm kind of surprised at the very fact that it is being jagged on, because I was either expecting it's like, no, there aren't any, or yes, they are, here they are. It all seems slightly more dodgy when you're saying, oh, we're not sure we can tell you.
Yeah, you're very close. And this is direct at the Cabinet Office, so that it doesn't really get. It doesn't get any higher than that, does it? Can it get any higher than the Cabinet Office? It can't, can it?
No, I don't think so.
That's it. That's where everything goes to die, as it were. So yeah, no, well done, and we'll obviously going to follow that with interest. There's so many threads to pull on now. So many threads. It's very, very complicated.
Oh, while we're here, we might as well have a look at a few more. This one is this one actually goes back from more than this week, but I find this kind of funny, that the fact that it hasn't been replied to so far. Oops, I'm putting that in the wrong chat there. So here we go, put it in there.
Here it comes. All right. Let's get this one up. And then I think, oh, bloody.
This might end up going on to the ICO at this rate. So
Yeah.
this is HM Chief Inspector of Prisons, the very guy that's complaining about how prisons are being run at the minute. And the department's completely failing with freedom of information. I did reply freedom of information a good while ago. They haven't even acknowledged it. Whenever I've chased it up and said, I've really been patient about this one. I waited past the time they should have even acknowledged it in and said, could you follow this up? And I still haven't had a reply. So, well, I guess I'll give it a couple more weeks, but if not, I'll just have to go straight to the ICO as being ignored. But it's not very good if you're essentially ignoring legislation, which at this point...
I've sent it back. I meant to put it in here. There we are. Let's put that one in the chat for those of you that are playing along at home. No, it's very good. Wow. Let's see if we can make this one a quick one. So what...
So with that particular one there, it goes back to the, we've had all the drama about Jones and around prisons. So it's just really saying about the prison, well, what else have you done? Because if you're saying mobile phones are being used to call in drone deliveries, well, your root cause problems there is you've got prisoners with mobile phones, which you're not supposed to have anyway. And there's already the technology there. It's called an IMSI catcher. So it picks up all the mobile phones that are in the prison. It'll even tell you which cell it's in. So you could just be running one of those, walk straight in, grab the phone off them, bish, bash, bosh, job done, problem solved. So it's a question of why is that not being brought up? And there was notes that the CCTV wasn't working. Well, how do you even know all this is getting in by drone? Someone could be handing it across.
It's always in the movies that the skullduggeries when the CCTV's not working, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a very quick go-to, that, isn't it?
Yes.
So I guess I want to sort of open up a can of worms, I suppose, because I think the industry is about to change because of political events. Now, which one was it? What's the one where they go to the moon? The Bond film, where basically it's a villain who creates rockets and wants to rule the world. The one with the spaceship.
The thing comes in like that and it takes it,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
With the spaceship. So it's that Bond movie's aging rather badly because we've moved into that world, haven't we?
I've always been saying that the Vice President of the United States is definitely becoming a Bond villain, a future Bond villain.
But it has massive implications for the small drone industry in America because they already had a small market. Because when you've got ITAR, it's not helping you get the stuff out, and it hasn't helped them. Can't say you can see that there's not been great strides made. You can't buy Skydio in the UK for exactly that reason, and Europe in loads of places. So it's already a small market, but now they're going to shrink it even more. But for the EU and the rest of the world, happy days. Here we go. Sell it wherever you want. And some people here are even on both sides of the fence because they're selling into America now, unless you get big tariffs slapped on you.
Well, no. What you do is you get your product licensed to be made in America, and therefore you avoid all tariffs because you're not sending anything anyway. That's what I would do.
No, fair enough. But
you think about that, Mark. Think about it. Just think about it.
Well, it's interesting. So, looking at the EU drone regs, because we've had questions on our Pixel for Europe from a couple of operators in Europe. It's interesting because the biggest thing at the minute seems to be a flight termination system, but we passed that with flying colours because. And that's a crazy system. And it goes to show regulators that don't quite understand the hardware at times as well. You come up with these devices, don't they, where you put it on a Mavic and it triggers and it chops all your props off and your drone falls out the sky. The problem is DJI system is so good, the control and everything, that the flight termination system is more likely to lose its link and their trigger itself by mistake, the actual DJI is likely to do anything wrong, which is it just shows regulators yet again are not operators, I think.
Of course. Well, I think the regulator, yeah. And I was asking Gary about this a couple of days ago. I don't think there is enough people making decisions who are flying drones. I'll just say it. I think there's a lot of bullshit here, and the industry is suffering for it.
Yeah, and I think the other problem is if they have ever flown a drone, they've ever flown stuff like Mavics or Phantoms.
Yeah.
And they've ended up working at a aviation authority and go, I've flown a drone. You have no idea, to be honest. If all you've flown is a Phantom and a Mavic, I consider that knowledge, meh.
Yeah. 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I do as well. And people get very annoyed when they say they run the business around a Mavic, and I go, well, that's nice. Yeah, that's lovely. But it's perhaps it's a little bit unfair.
Yeah, you can if you're good, you can make money with a Mavic. You can make good money with a Mini, but if you only ever understand the DJI stuff, it's because I don't want to be unfair to people that just fly Mavics and Phantoms. Great, you understand of that ecosystem, but actually in the drone world, there's a lot more out there. It's like we were talking to someone the other day, and it's about when you want someone to come and work for you. So let's say you build drones, and you put the job advert out there, and you go, right, I'm after someone, and they have to be able to build and assemble a drone, for example. And a lot of them go, oh, well, I'm a drone flyer because I fly the Mini or whatever. That's great, and then they'll just apply. Do you know what I mean? You get a lot of that. But the person you really want, you're really looking for, is someone that's been playing with ArduPilot as a hobby flyer or beta flight and understands that just basic building, because if they understand the basic building, you can get them to where you want them to be. Do you know what I mean?
But there's not enough of that, though. There's not enough people.
And that's the problem.
And that's the thing is that we're now at the off the shelf point of the industry right now. We can see industry even to a certain degree, the hobby to a certain degree. Of course, you will. But I mean, those kind of guys came from the model airplane side where people would build, all that kind of stuff. So who would be part of clubs, who would be part of a community, who would be part of, actually understanding what it is to fly, and you didn't have people who acted like idiots because it was a community. Of course there still is community, but it's not quite what it used to be now. So you have these people who can walk into a shop, buy a drone, fly it, get into trouble right away, and have no understanding. But if you were a model airplane, the first thing you would do would be to join a club, and then you would have an area, and then you would have advice. And that's why the model airplane or the model helicopter, that's why they have a good reputation, because they have a community.
Yeah, and they know how to build as well, and that's what So I mean, the person I was talking to, I won't say who, but they in the UK, you wouldn't believe how many aircraft they turn out a month and the size they're turning out. It's just amazing. These places do exist, but they, as I say, trying to find someone that can actually do the work on the aircraft needed. They've got to have had a little bit of ArduPilot, just a bit of an understanding. You have to know everything about it, because let's face it, if you knew everything about ArduPilot, you'd probably take you a year and then a bit more.
Did you see for in the comments? Did you see this? Now they've got an AI. Yeah, there's an AI. So the AI does know everything. Well, allegedly knows as much as it can about it. And so the AI can help you when you're configuring now. So that's quite a thing.
That is actually amazing to help you. Yeah, there's an AI now, and you go to it, and then it helps you build up your aircraft specs and everything. It is fantastic. I mean, but it does take it away. We does make us lazy again, because I know a little bit of RG Pilot. I know like this much.
I don't think
I know
anyone can.
this much, right? And it is fascinating when you start just poking around with it, because there's nothing better than just being nosy and having a poke with it. And I've set up fixed wing on it, and I've set up multi rotors on it. So I'm lucky because I've done two sides of it. I love the fixed wing shake to launch. I think that's one of the best things going. It's something basic, but you just pick up the airframe, shake it, wait, motor start, wait. Right, he wants to leave. Now just gently launch it into wind, and off she goes. It's just, to me, that's just simple but brilliant.
Well, yes. I've set up both sorts, but all I do is set it up, do an auto tune, and then walk away. I've never had anything that RG Pilot's not been able to fly out of the box, as long as the airframe flies. That's
Yes.
As long as you got the airframe build right, then I've not had a thing that I haven't been able to make it fly. And then an auto tune. I don't then waste hours and hours and hours trying to fine tune it, because I know that's the crashes hide in that process. That's where they lurk.
Yes. So funny enough, right? So the Pixel, we got it auto tuned and we had it flying fairly well. We decided, right, and this is a free admission, we sent it to someone who can tune RG Pilot. I'll tell you what came back was anything beyond what it flew like before. We thought we got it quite good. We were wrong by a mile. We were like,
oh yeah, if you it's well worth it. If you are serious about it, it's well worth becoming a partner and getting Uncle Tridge to have a look.
Oh no, we actually got someone else to do it. We didn't
a
have
multi-rotor person. Yeah,
we got we knew of someone, and we sent them the aircraft.
right.
A few days to get it done, but my God, I mean,
Makes
honestly,
a difference.
right?
Yeah, I know.
Because we need the aircraft to stop on a sixpence. We need it to be precise in its vertical angles and everything. Where you do an auto tune, it's a little bit rough, a little bit. You still get a bit of a wobble.
Yeah.
I don't get anything. It's just nuts.
So the AI knows 1,400 bits of information, or pulls from 1,400 bits of information. So that's pretty cool. Methodic configurator. So that's very cool if you're struggling with RG Pilot setups. But as I say, my personal take on it is don't try too hard, because that's where the crashes lie. As soon as you start really trying, but then if you need to get it going perfectly, then as Mark says, get a grown up to do it. Tridge is amazing. Tridge will tune stuff remotely. He's tuned stuff for us from Australia, in South Africa, in real time. Just cracks on with it. It's just ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It really is.
I mean, it's such an amazing I call it a dark art, because you really have to understand, the ultimate nuances here. It's like it's bonkers. But I tip my hat accordingly. The guys that can do that, worth every penny.
Absolutely going to make their money, aren't they? That's for sure. So what else have we seen this week that's caught anyone's attention?
We got Sora coming to the UK. We've had that announcement.
Oh, yes.
So we have, we get the training videos from the CA soon, though. I think
really?
Yes, on their YouTube channel. They did announce that on their YouTube channel, we're going to get the Sora training videos. I can't wait.
Sora training videos. I wonder who's going to be doing the talking and all of that.
Will they dare present them, or will they do it as an animation? And
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Definitely. And that will cost a fortune. Now you see where your money's going. Now you see where all that money is going. It will be done by someone like Pixar or something. It will cost millions.
Pixar.
well,
Yeah.
you know, they get around £2 million a year, so you know there's a bit to throw at it.
It'd be a bit funny if it was a TikTok with the Times New Roman font popping up a little.
So yeah,
Yeah.
they've announced we're getting Sora. They've said to everyone, if your OSC or Aura, as they call it, the Aura risk assessment, as long as if you apply before, I think the 22nd of April, it's the old way of doing it. After the 23rd, it falls into the new system, which I believe is either a Sail or a Sora, which, you know, and we'll still waiting to see the price on that because we still haven't had the prices confirmed yet, I don't think. They did put what they wanted to charge, but with the actual prices, I've not seen that yet because everyone kicked off in the industry and went, it's too much money.
But your sale falls under which level it is within Sora. So when you have a Sora,
oh sorry,
it's not going to be that you have a Sora. You'll have either sale 1, 2, 3. Well, sorry, it will be 1 or 2, 3 and 4 are really, really quite tough to get. You know, it's quite challenging. You know,
and I think
so would I be able to go across to Europe and get all the paperwork sorted there, or do I have to go through the CAA?
Nope, you can come to Europe and get it done. You have to.
Not for us.
You have to. Okay. So the question. Okay, so you can come to Europe and you can get a Sora done.
Yes.
If you don't have an operator, so if you don't have, if you don't have presence in Europe, you can have another company do it for you.
But then you can take that back to the UK and say, here, I've got all the paperwork.
So my question.
Well, otherwise, it's not a standard, is it?
It's not a standard, and it's not because the UK Sora is different apparently to Yarsi's Sora, as I understand.
So why call it a Sora then?
Quite exactly. It's not the same. It's just a serving suggestion. That's all. If it's not plug and play, so then all right. So I'm a European company and I want to operate in the UK. So I've got a UK entity. So I can't take my European Sail, Sora, whatever we're going to call it, across the water. And then, or I'm in the UK and I've got it all. I can't take that one to the EU. Well, that's ridiculous.
Well, that's because we're no longer part of YASA.
You're flying my pilot's licenses. I can take across the border.
Not in the EU.
But I can.
It's nuts. I completely agree with you. It is bonkers because if it was that way, I would go and get my Sora or my Sail 2 in Ireland because the price of that will be 10 times cheaper than getting it in the UK, and everyone would flood to Ireland, and Ireland would go boom.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, of course you wouldn't, because you're in Finland. You get. You'll say Finland all day long. Come to Finland. Finland's the best place. That's what you'll say.
I'm just. We can have this conversation off screen, okay? We can have this conversation.
Okay. Okay. But so yeah, it's kind of so I think it's going to be interesting. What will be interesting is to get Stephen's take, because you've had this for a bit, haven't you? Or so what will be really interesting is Stephen's view once it comes out from the UK version and see what differences, if any, there are.
I can have a few. So if someone does want, of course, there might be examples out there, and of course, it's good to check. And I do have a few. But it would be good to even though there are certain organizations out there that are offering you how to do that.
Well, and you wouldn't pay for them to come to you and give you any training on the how to do that if you weren't making something that's plug and play, because then you put good money after bad. You might as well just use the wording and write up your own. So if you'd spent any money on a particular company, £10,500 a day, to come and talk to you about it, well, why? Anyway, just saying.
Here's my question: if the regulator took training from said company and everything, and then they did a video on it, and then they did a second video because apparently it's going to be 2 or something, you would
Can't
think,
imagine what that would cost. Yeah.
You would think that those videos will have all the information you need in, and you wouldn't need to go and get more training. Do you know what I mean? You shouldn't have to then go to this company that will charge you thousands of pounds to do anything else. Because if the regulator cannot explain the rules crystal clear and not have the murkiness in it, then there's a problem already. Do you know what I mean? And what's really interesting is, because I'm not in an RE anymore, but have the REs had all this information pushed to them first? Because the problem is,
have they?
I don't know. I must admit, I should reach out to a couple of them. I really should reach out to a couple of them. I know someone that's just gone through their GVC, and it'd be really disappointing for them to have gone through it right now, and then the CA changes everything for them on the 22nd, 23rd of April, and they've not learned that risk assessment at the RAE, because in my head, that's got to be in play first. That should have started by now easily. Otherwise, what's the point? You get your GVC and then you go, risk assessment, it's based on that, not this, and it's confusing.
The ANRA Technologies have got a tool. They have a new tool, which is a SORA tool, which allows you to create your SORA on their platform.
Oh, I think I've played with.
And then you once you've done that, you walk away. Does it print the paperwork and that's yours forever, or do you have to keep using the ANRA product to keep that live?
You can just I can't remember if you go to it. I think it's been tested at the moment in Australia and New Zealand, or maybe just Australia. I think Amit was talking about that and I've been asking, because we are working together, and I've not had time because we're doing other things and stuff. But I keep meaning to say, give that tool to me so I can at least try it out and stuff, which they've said which they would do. But I know it has been tested, or it's being tested. But they have there's like a YouTube video where you can watch a couple of presentations on it. I think they started doing this October, November last year or something, so it isn't too long in that. But they are planning to roll it out to other countries, because there is SORA in Australia. But again, does the SORA work the same? So I don't know. So
I'm waiting to see what I'm waiting to see what data they want, like population data, because that's now, to me, the population data is now after seeing the video and the report from the Dutch, on how reliable the drones are, the population data, that's X distance from the drone, it's like, well, that's irrelevant. That's literally now irrelevant. 1 in 100,000 flights, there could possibly be an issue, but that is with the enterprise version. So let's be clear, that's recent drones, isn't it, as well?
They have been using this data since 2011, but of course the highest score has come from the most recent drones. So, but of course it's. I mean, you would So there has been discussions, especially within Jeddah. We have been talking about that we would like to get this from everywhere. So every country in Europe, we want to get this data. And not only from, just the organizations, but also from the hobbyists. But if you say to the hobbyists, give us your log files, they're going to go, no, that's paranoid. No, but I mean, you can see what's happened there. So they've got that data, and it's been purely, it's been purely anonymous, and it's worked, And actually, I remember Peter, because I said Peter, who was one of the authors of the Dutch one there. He's also in Jeddah, And I remember last year, I think it was last February, when we were in Vienna for the for one of the big meetings that we had, and he was talking about this. He was talking about how much he wanted this data and how much he wanted to show that the drones are safe. And bloody hell, he's done it, and it's
done it. Yeah.
I mean, what's going to be interesting is will other aviation authorities accept the NAAs? Will they accept this data? Now, because I've had a bit of a debate with someone online on this, and they've said, well, it's not UK data. It's like, well, that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
We still fly the same damn hardware. It doesn't matter if you're flying it in Finland or I'm flying it here. It makes a difference.
Yeah. That's a ridiculous argument, isn't it? Because, as you know, as soon as you cross a country boundary, the behaviour of the aircraft completely changes. It's utterly different. You drive across the border from France to Belgium and Germany. So I think it's a very short border, that, isn't it? So the gap.
And you need to have parachutes. Parachutes are vital, man. They're much safer.
Again, parachutes, flight termination systems, all pointless or thereabouts. Okay, if you're flying something different, you might want to consider it, but actually, for the most part, no, not needed. These systems are solid.
Well, we just know that by use case, don't we? We know it just the day-to-day use. The reliability has gone through the roof to what it was back in 2006. It really has.
But also at the same degree for people. I mean, just take for example the fly card, right? So if you buy a fly card, whether you are a company, organization, or your research, if you're university, that's a drone that you're going to look after, right? And you're going to
yeah.
So there's much more responsibility if you're flying an M350 with a LiDAR, L2 LiDAR, or you have a Dock 2, whether if you have a mini drone, it's just blah. But I mean, the more expensive these things are, the much more careful you are.
Funny old thing, yes. Funny old thing, yeah. Yes.
And I've said for years, the thing is, you can tell which drones are reliable because you only buy the ones that don't fall out the sky. We won't buy stuff. You don't invest 3, 5, 15 grand on stuff that falls out of the sky every day because it just would be, it's just not worth it. So, but yeah, you're right. The technology. I bet 2011 to 2015 there were a few flyaways in the data, but after that it would just vanish. You know what I mean? It would start to disappear.
Definitely.
I mean, yeah. So I can see people are saying, "Oh, they want to replicate it here," but to me, it's like you're throwing good money after bad to a degree because we've got the data. It's proven. It doesn't matter where in the world of drones.
I mean, add more data to it from the UK or more data to it from somewhere else. I'm down for that. Expand it, get refine that number even more. But not
add to it.
Not start again. That would be just nonsense. Absolute nonsense.
But the most ironic thing, in a sense, is obviously when you look at what's happening in the US, and if the US really do want to ban these drones, they're then kind of actually rejecting safety. So they're pushing back on safety in a way, which is nuts. So they're saying, okay, data, which I do understand, but at the same time, but our skies are going to be a lot more unsafer because we have drones that are, so it's
you won't get equivalent numbers on anything that's made over there because the numbers just aren't there. They're physically not there. You're not going to get a valid, and it would show in that case that it was. Perhaps I'm suggesting it might show a similar failure rate to what the regulators suggested, but that would only be because of the low volumes and nothing more.
But would
No,
we still be hidden completely because of Boeing?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel sorry for the Scan Eagle people because I can't see who's going to buy them, and bloody Boeing should never. Yeah. As you said earlier, Stephen, it probably is the safest aircraft that Boeing has. But there we are. Right, I'm definitely beginning to talk nonsense. Any more? What else have we seen out there, gentlemen? Oh, I might have to put the hammer down on this.
I don't
Dear
think
viewer, yeah. Going once, going twice, dear viewer, wherever you are in the world. We hope to see you again with a fuller complement next week. Bruce, as I say, get well soon, mate. Sleep hard, get well soon, and we'll see you all again at 2100 Gin and Tonic next week. Cheers, everyone. Bye bye. There's one click, and there's